The situation like this morning as you were making your way to Lehae there just outside Freedom Park? What is it like?
Hi there, Braden. In fact, we are along the Golden Highway and the traffic is moving freely as compared to yesterday morning at this time. But also what you can notice along this highway, Braden, is that there's police visibility. Police and traffic officials are making sure that there's no disturbance into the traffic flow this morning. We haven't heard of any other incidents, or we haven't heard of any incidents also in other parts of the city like we've seen rather yesterday. This morning it's very quiet. Residents are keeping themselves inside their communities, I suppose. Some are heading to work. Yesterday they were up in arms protesting, demanding service delivery, as you rightfully said. In 3 areas here in Lehae where we are, people were saying to us there's no basic services, but also they were saying that there's no clinic. Others were complaining that the RDP houses that were given to them by authorities several years ago are no longer big enough for their families. What they wanted to do yesterday was to move to the land that I'm actually looking at, Braden. They wanted to erect homes there for their families. At the same time, though, when you move to Freedom Park, which is few meters away from where we are, also residents there complaining about service delivery. But there, what was interesting about Freedom Park is that the residents there are saying that they were promised about 48,000 stands by the then Human Settlements MEC here in Gauteng, Paul Mashatile, at a land they call Southern Farm. They said government last year in May promised that the land would first be serviced, meaning that sanitation facilities and electricity would be installed in that area before people would be given stands. They're saying that that promise has not materialized, and hence they decided to take to the streets. They made it clear that they no longer care about that land being serviced. All they want is to be given the plots of land so that they can build themselves their own homes. At the same time, across Freedom Park, in Eldorado Park, people there too complaining that they're promised houses and title deeds, and those promises have not materialized.
Now, Malungelo, what do we expect to happen today? I mean, there's so many demands that the communities are making. I mean, is the Gauteng government intervening in any way?
Well, the Gauteng government yesterday started sending some human settlement officials to come and interface with some of these communities. In fact, here in Lehae, where I attended an impromptu meeting with one of these officials and the residents were spelling out their demands and saying that they want the clinic to be placed here as a matter of urgency, even if it's temporary. But also government officials have been calling for calm, Braden, saying that government is doing everything possible to try and deal with some of the concerns. We are expecting the Gauteng Human Settlements MEC to begin to interface with some of these communities sometime today. But also, Braden, what is interesting, or what makes this situation even interesting, is that the Gauteng alone has a housing backlog of about 800,000. And you look, last year the Human Settlements Department failed to spend about 150 million rand that was meant to go towards building homes. And that's also one of the reasons that's making some of these community members quite aggrieved by their conditions that they are currently living in.
Now, Malungelo, we saw, because the violent protests blocking of roads, and yesterday when we spoke to JMPD's Wayne Minnaar, they were trying to open the roads. This morning you've said there's been visibility, traffic is flowing normally, and the result of the violent protests, have you seen any damage that was done from the violent protests yesterday, or this was only limited to blocking the roads?
Britain, from what I have seen, it's been limited to blockading of roads. In fact, the police have been able to clear all the debris on the road, but you can see that there's still some marks from the burning of tires on the road, and some of the rocks that were put on the roads have been moved to the sides of the road so that traffic can be able to move freely. There has not been, at least I have not seen, any destruction of property.
Thank you very much. eNCA's Malungelo Booi at Lehae, just outside Freedom Park in the Lenasia area. Just tracking that story that follows from yesterday with a violent protest in parts of Eldorado Park, Freedom Park, Lenasia and Soweto. This morning, everything seems to be calm. And of course, there's a meeting that's awaited with the local Gauteng authorities.